Hi, I'm Anna, and in this session we are going to be using the connection breath to combine that with our pelvic floor and core activation. So if you've not done the video previously on the connection breath, then I would suggest going back and doing that one first. It will make a lot more sense. Okay, so now we're going to use that breath that we just learnt and add in our pelvic floor activation. So just a quick note on this before we begin. Often many of us are taught just to activate through the front of the pelvic floor, and that's the cue that you hear about stopping the flow of urine. This isn't a bad thing, it's a useful cue, but it can cause some problems if all we're doing is activating and squeezing in the front of the pelvic floor and not engaging the rest of the pelvic floor. So the pelvic floor muscles are like a hammock sitting in the pelvis, and they're basically there to hold in all our organs, so bladder, bowel, uterus, so that we can go about our daily lives without all of that stuff falling out. So it's pretty awesome. It also controls flow of urine, so to can stop and start our urine, which is why that cue is used and can be useful. But it also, there's more to it than just that stopping the flow of urine. So we want to be activating the entire pelvic floor when we do engage. So I like to think about a string running up the middle of my body, right through the middle of the pelvic floor. And the muscles are around that like a hammock. When I lift, they pull up around the string, and when I release, they lengthen all the way back down, just like a billowy hammock. Maybe not so billowy, but you get the idea. So that's what we want to think about. In order to get the whole pelvic floor engaged, we'll think about, yes, squeezing the front, like stopping the flow of urine, but also think about squeezing around the rectum as if you're trying to hold in wind. And the middle, I like this one, as if you're trying to pick up a little blueberry or a plum off the floor with your vagina. And that just helps with that little sucking in and up. So there are a few cues for you to think about as we try to engage. And we'll break that down a little bit further. But let's jump straight in and have a go. So sitting comfortably, some people find it easier to do these lying down on the floor. So like this position with the knees up, you can give that a go. Or you can try them seated. Okay, we're going to inhale to prepare. That big inhale, diaphragmatic breath. Exhale. On the exhale, lift and squeeze around the pelvic floor. And inhale. Exhale, relax. Let's take a full breath in between, no contraction. Inhale. Exhale, think about lengthening all the muscles back down. Nice. Let's try that again. Inhale. Exhale. Lift and squeeze. Inhale. Exhale. Full breath, no contraction. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, let's try one more. Inhale. Exhale. Lift and squeeze. Inhale. Exhale, lengthen. Inhale, no contraction. Exhale, lengthen. Beautiful. Okay, so a couple things here. We are doing our contraction on the exhale. This might be different to things you might have been taught in yoga or other, exercise classes. And we're doing it this way because we want the least amount of pressure in the container. when we do our activation. So we don't want to be adding unnecessary pressure down onto the pelvic floor. That was sort of what got us here in the first place, was if you've had a baby, then that pressure downwards. People without babies also can get pelvic floor dysfunction, not had a child, but that's the most common. So yeah, we don't want to be adding any extra as we're trying to recover. We also don't want to be adding extra pressure out onto the front of the core. So this connective tissue that runs down, it's called the linea alba. It's that line that you may see sometimes, you may have, or you may have seen in other people. And that one is the connective tissue that knits our abdomen together. So the six-pack abs down the side, that's where it connects in the center, okay? During pregnancy, this connective tissue becomes quite stretched and we get that separation of the abdominal muscles. So we don't want to be adding any unnecessary further pressure forwards either, which on the inhale, as you can imagine, everything fills up. So we wouldn't want to add a contraction there. On the exhale, everything's empty, and that's when we do our lift and our contractions. Okay, nice. So some people find it difficult to feel like they're connecting with all of the muscles. So now we're just going to break down each of those cues and see if we can do them separately and then combine them together. So you'll inhale, same as before. On the exhale, see if you can just squeeze the front. So use that cue of stopping the flow of urine. Yep. And then inhale, exhale, full breath in between. Okay, next one, we're going to do that picking up the little piece of fruit off the floor with your vagina. Sounds weird, it works. Inhale, exhale, lift the middle, inhale, exhale. One more full breath. Okay, inhale, exhale. Lovely. The next one we're going to do is the back, so around the rectum. The pelvic floor actually connects all the way back to the coccyx bone, to that bone right at the base of the spine. So we want to be able to engage the back too. This cue I mentioned earlier is as if you're trying to hold in some wind. It's like you're in an elevator and really not a good time, it's packed with people, or it's you and one other person. It's probably even more concerning. They're going to know it's you. So you're going to hold that in. So that's what we're going to do this time. Inhale to prepare. Exhale. Squeeze. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, relax. Everything lengthening back down. Lovely. So there we just tried to separate them out into sort of sections, and this might have felt like, oh, still don't really know what's going on when I do that. That's okay. This is part of rebuilding that sensory pathway with that area, and for many mothers, it's really takes some time. And like I mentioned earlier, if there's been any birth trauma, physical trauma to the area, or emotional trauma about the birth or the pregnancy or any or all of it, then there can be this disconnect. So if it really feels foreign, don't worry. Over time, this is why we're doing this. So I'd encourage you to go back over both of those exercises and try the all together and then the sections, and see if you can bring it, or see if that helps bring it all together. One other little tip, if you're really not feeling what's happening down there, is actually use physical touch for feedback. So you can literally place your hand down on the perineum and feel when you're engaging. Yeah, you can feel that. You can place a hand behind, like right on the rectum or the coccyx bone, and you should feel that moving too when you're engaging the back properly. Another tool that you can use is if you have a bolster or even a foam roller, you can just, or actually the arm of a couch works too. You can straddle that round object and you'll be able to actually feel some movement too, because you have that feedback as well. Another one is that you can literally use a mirror down there, obviously take your clothes off so you can see, and then you'll see some movement also on the outside, the vulva, like around the vaginal opening, and the rectum too. And so if you're really not sure if you're doing it right, then use those tools. And one final thing, it should really feel like a lift. If it shouldn't be a bearing down, okay? So we're not pressing and straining down, it's a lift up. Yeah. And those tools for feedback will really help you to see if that's what's happening. Okay, we'll leave it there. In the next little video, we're going to combine breath, pelvic floor, and core activation as well. So all of those three together give us this great foundation for taking into movement. Awesome. See you soon. Bye.